afternoon, dear professors and students. Today's course, our graduate students, Sadiya Bashir Banu, your topic, the effect of teaching lexical qualifications on speaking ability, and your scientific advisor, docent Tilfuza Chumundetwa. Good afternoon, dear teachers and dear examiners. My topic is the effects of teaching lexical qualifications and on speaking ability. My work includes introduction to main chapter, conclusion, appendix, and bibliography. So, the ability to speak a foreign language requires more than a mere knowledge of its grammatical and semantic rules. Learners must acquire the knowledge of how native speakers the language naturally by capitalizing on a wealth of prefabricated forms such as collocations and idioms. Owing to years of collocational knowledge, most EFL learners oral
Idioms, not idioms.
idioms. Oral or written productions are recognized as unnatural or strange by native speakers. The present study was an attempt to uncover relationship between collocation knowledge and speaking proficiency, collocational knowledge and use of collocations, and also relationship proficiency collocational between speaking proficiency and use of collocations. The data for this study came from 30 intermediate learners who set a collocation test and were interviewed on a range of topics. The government of Uzbekistan paid great attention to the social sphere from the first day of its independence. Essential work carried on education. The education system aims at qualifying people armed with sources of knowledge. The English language takes important role to show our intellectual ability to the world. Objective of all our reforms in the field of economic policy in the individual. And therefore, the task of education, the task of rising up a new generation capable of national renaissance will remain the prerogative of the state, constitute a priority. The resolution of the President of Uzbekistan on measures to further improve system of foreign language teaching is being implemented in Uzbekistan.
Chapter 1.
That's all.
Okay, questions?
Shahribanu, what is the difference between collocations and phrasal verbs?
Collocations.
What is collocations?
Collocations. It's informed by words.
What about the actuality of your work?
Actually,
Yeah, actuality.
my work activity is
Хорошо. Хорошо. Хорошо.
Actuality of your work, of your qualification.
vocabulary and speaking skills.
role of collocations in teaching speaking?
Uh, The present study was an attempt on the relationship between collocational knowledge and speaking, proficiency, collocational knowledge, and use of collocations. Thank you.
Our next graduate student, Usman Mayur Usman. Your topic question types for testing language skills. Your scientific advisor, Wilson Nagai.
Good afternoon, dear my members of education, communication, and my teachers. My today work and a topic about question topic for testing language skills. Okay. Today topic about statement of intent. Of intern and statement of intent language is the most important tool in communication. Without this, human society cannot live and develop. The world is changing, and our country's international relationships are also getting wider. Globalization affects on every corner of social life and thus foreign language, especially English, which is a very important and human, practical, and international activities. The language test is one of the example of this phenomenon. Research trying to convey test takers perception of two high stakes tests, IELTS and the TOEFL tests. TOEFL and IELTS tests were developed in the 20th century to measure test takers' language proficiency for more than 30 years. Their two tests have been through many changes that were claimed to better measure test takers' proficiency. Next. In order to achieve this purpose, this research explicit students to different perception of IELTS and TOEFL tests based on these test example experiences. The research questions are: is there any difference in learning foreign language simulation? As compared to those who are learning the languages use IELTS and TOEFL. What sort of top types are these in IELTS and TOEFLs? During the first lesson, the research distributed a handout to test and task types to get a general understanding of students about questions types. The items of the handout were developed as according to the objectives of the study. In similar previous studies, usually the participants are asked if they think, for example, knowledge of types of questions improve their language skills. Okay.
Conclusion, please. Conclusion.
Before starting the experiment as a student teachers, I had some startless of beginning, my supervisor regularly supported me to believe in my street and provided me with ideas and the techniques well practice for period. And during my study, I understood that each teacher should understand each study with different ages because, as we know, young and grow influence on personal which and the inner motivation. The teacher should understand each student's own word, whether she or he, and try to be not only a good teacher but a good physiology and a friend as well.
Questions, please.
What types of questions are there in assessment test?
This test usually consists of verbal, abstract, and logical reasoning questions.
What are the different types of language testing?
Types of five means types of language assessments: aptitude, diagnostic, placement, achievement, and the proficiency test. Tests.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's.
Our next student should be Laura Imran. Your topic enhancing text comprehension speeds through scanning reading mechanisms and your scientific advisor, docent, radio question.
Hello, my name is Shukila Ainora. Good afternoon. My name is Shukila Ainora, and I will present my second work. The topic is enhanced text comprehension speed through scanning reading mechanisms. What is reading? Reading skills, as you know, it's one of the skills of the IELTS test. Reading skills helps to enhance the intellectual and the other types of the skills. And through scanning reading mechanisms, I divided them here into three chapters. The first chapter is theoretical basis of teaching reading in secondary school, and the second chapter is features of teaching scanning reading when teaching a foreign language. The third and the last is teaching scanning reading in English language lessons. The first is reading is a type of speech activity. What is the main purpose of the reading as a type of speech activity? Well, reading is very useful in learning foreign languages. Also, it helps in oral activity. It's not just includes oral activity, but also helps to enhance the development of the people's brain. And the second topic is psychological features of teaching reading in foreign languages. As everybody knows that in Uzbekistan, nowadays gives a lot of laws about the foreign languages, also reading English languages. And teaching English languages nowadays it begins at the first class. And our president gives a lot of opportunities for learning foreign languages, also English languages. The types of reading. What is the type of reading? The type of reading divides into four types. The first is motivation, goal, result. What is different between this? The motivation is the main purpose of the motivation it helps through the printed words. And the second is goal. What is goal? Goal is the mean of goal means to teach or to learn English language through reading skills. And what is how it can help the goal, how it can help in learning reading in reading skills. Well, the main purpose of it's a goal to learn by reading the text and to understanding the text. What is the result? And the last type of the reading skills is a result. The result, it means the result which students or learners get information or knowledge by obtaining and learning through reading skills. Reading techniques and the formation of technical skills. There are a lot of techniques in reading. Techniques in reading. Techniques. One of them is a scanning, and the second is a skimming. What's the difference between this? Scanning, it means to scan the numbers or peoples or place. It helps. It helps in learning. It's a very useful. Very useful in IELTS reading skills, because when learners read through reading, they find the information very quickly. And the second technique is skimming. Skimming. What is this main purpose? The skimming is to get information through by learning. By reading the text very quickly with the help of the iron. And the second chapter is the features of teaching scanning reading when teaching a foreign languages. Languages.
Sure. Questions. What is the psychological basis of learning? Why psychology is important in teaching and learning? Why?
The psychology, yes, is a very vital. It plays a vital role in learning not only one language but also the other foreign languages. There will be some types by the oral. It is one of the best. Because by communicating, people can easily learn foreign languages.
Нişanlı çocuk kızdı bak. İyi kış yok. Sonra benim bulamam.
Я его постоянно не езжаю в свой дом, перемил, айно.
Kurt tuttu üstümüzü. Ondan. Psixologiyanın rolü nedir sonda? Chet tilini үйренді. Bu psixologiyалық қазір проблема келіп шықты сенің защитаңда. Қандай лизат бұл? Қандай бұл не қыламыз bunu? Сапыластырамыз.
The psychology of learning language is very problematic nowadays. Because there will be some social problems.
Psychological problem. Please do not say about social or other cultural problems. Psixologiyалық проблемалар бар ма?
Yes, of course. Because we are the Asian nationality, and there will be European nationality. When we learn foreign languages, some of the, for example, some of the some of the
What is psychology? Please tell me.
psychology. It means
Is болса mean болады. Я просто
Mean.
means болады.
psychology means the interaction of the people, which there are a lot of mean. One of them is the interaction of the people or interaction of the nationalities. It may be behavior of the people.
Behavior деген естір ме? Behavior. Психология деген бұл қандай проблемалар болады тіл үйренуде? Темам сол.
Misunderstanding of the words, of course, because one of them is there will be some vowels with no. There will be misunderstanding by learners, for example. There are the sounds that, and some in Russian there is no these sounds, and when the learners pronounce, it can be some problematic or problematic by sounding, by communicating words.
болады.
Our next student, Hutigen Lazovir. Your topic, the futurity paradigms, investigating the category of future tense in English grammar. And your scientific advisor, docent, Yogash Khan.
So I'm going to start. The integration of the Republic of Uzbekistan into the global economic and political political community has brought attention to the challenges of information, technology, and culture. In this context, the teaching of foreign languages becomes crucial and requires addressing the strategic tasks with a primary focus on education. Education in addition to linguistic tasks and knowledge, and plays a vital role in enabling successful integration into foreign cultures and the global community. Consequently, it is important to explore innovative approaches, methods, and pedagogical technologies for language teaching. The education system places a significant emphasis on language-related issues, and also the language policy implemented in the country is considered a contemporary social demand, as proficiency in languages is closely linked to the progressive development of any nation. Scholars and educators have a paramount responsibility to address and explore the future prospects of language teaching, particularly in relation to foreign language, with English being of particular importance due to the increased significance of the language challenge in the era of globalization and integration. Here you can see three types of theoretical foundation of the study. First one is philosophical perspective, positivist schools, and cognitive linguistics. Functional and pragmatic communicative analysis. Functional approaches, future tense, subject linked speakers, desires and intonations, pragmatic communicative features, focus on future tense in English language press. So next one is present tense forms future, continuous and simple. Present continuous for future, used for planned or arranged events in the near future. Present simple for future, used for scheduled actions or events. Um, Aspectual meaning of futuristic situation.
Conclusion, please.
Conclusion. The exploration, the future tense in English grammar. The English grammar revealed its complexity and significance about linguistic structure and purpose by and communication. The study highlighted the multifaceted ways expressing futurity from auxiliary verbs like will to present tense forms and modal verbs. Recognize the integrate relationship between futurity and modality in the pragmatic communicative features in the English language press demonstrates how future tense influence effective communication. Thus, mastering future tense in crucial both linguistic proficiency and practical application in English. So that's all.
Questions? Do you have any questions?
What is the main focus of the futurity paradigm in English grammar?
The main focus on futurity paradigm is it to investigate how the category of future is expressed in English grammar, including the various linguistic devices and the structures used to convey future events or actions. Right?
Okay, my next question about your work. Why do you have just one subtopic in the chapter 1 and 8 in the chapter 2?
It's because
Our next student, Yorumcay Virgül. Your topic communicative pragmatic characteristics of reflective speech acts in English dialects. Your scientific advisor, docent Yıldaş Nazar Yıldaş. Good afternoon once again. So my topic is communicative pragmatic characteristic of retractive speech acts in English dialects. So here you can see the content of my work. It consists of 2 chapters, one introduction, conclusion, and as you can
Move to
see,
the second chapter, please. Second chapter.
starting from the second chapter, right?
Yes.
Okay, second chapter is Complex pragmatic characteristics of the retracted speech acts and their classification. So, in the second chapter describes the research part of the work is aimed at the solving the process, solving the specific problems and determined by the specific of the chosen topic. So, the situation of a dispute, which is invariably accompanied by the use of RPA and in addition to exclamatory intonation, is evidenced by the following emotionally and charged lexical elements. So the first one, A. There is interjections, adjectives describing the state of attitude of the speaker, and the adverbs and adjectives of the evaluating the situation, like honestly, horrible, finally, terrific, crap, at last, this kind of in English dialects. Interjections maybe look it like this, like oh God, gosh, Lord, or goddamn, hell, what, why, what the hell, everything on this kind. So the exclamatory syntactic constructions. So it's grand and what are the heck and etc. So the communicative pragmatic characteristics of the redactive speech act in English dialects involve understanding and how the speaker used the language and how to manage it and clarify their previous statements within the context of a conversation. Here are also you can say some key characteristics. So the first one is coherence maintenance, and the retractive speech act serve to maintain coherence in the conversation by addressing the potential misunderstanding or clarify the previous statements. And the interactive functions. So interactive functions is retraction is inherently interactive as it involves the revising and modifying the previous utterance based on the ongoing interaction with the interlocutor. And the politeness. So politeness and implicature, it's also involved in the retractive speech acts. As in English dialects, most of the people uses on this kind of like retraction can also use it to mitigate the potential face-tethering acts, such as when a speaker realizes that their previous statement might be offensive or impolite. Yes, going on. Turn taking. Yes, right. Turn taking. So turn taking on the floor management. So retraction plays a role in managing the turn taking and floor management in dialects, as the speakers may retract their statements to yell it to the floor to their interlocutors, or to seek the clarification before continuing. Yes, and mitigating the misunderstanding. So retractive speech acts help in mitigating misunderstanding by the providing additional information or recorrecting the previous statements that was spoken by the speaker. And pragmatic markers. Pragmatic markers, speakers often use the specific linguistics markers like I mean, or actually, or what I mean to was to say like this kind of statements. This is the linguistic markers of the retractive speech acts. So it uses to signal the retraction and helping the interlocutor recognize the retraction, the previous statements.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you give some examples of retracted speech acts in both English and Canadian, or give the equivalent?
As we can also see, in English it's mostly used like oh my God, they use mostly they often use this as their daily life, but in Krakaupak we can also say the we buy this kind of the in dialects, I mean. in Karagabak language.
Do we have the exact equivalence of English and Karakaba? Retracted speech acts.
Yes, we do. But the example is really hard to me to recognize, but let me think. There is some equivalent because every dialect mostly has the similar things because we all humans, because we all have the main
Do
source
you
of
have
it.
certificate?
Not yet. I have the certificate CER because when I just first attempt, it was 64 points, right? 1 point left to the C1. Yeah. And after this, I haven't just applied to the any certificate.
Why?
Because I worked. Because I worked in a seismic field,
You do not have time, yes, to prepare.
right? I have time that I only just worked it as a translator in a seismic field. This was like a seismic
Translator or interpreter, which one?
translator because I
What's the
have
difference between translator and interpreter?
translator. They mostly use it for those who translate the colloquial speeches. And the interpreter, this is also familiar, but translator is more honorific. And we have some types of it, like simultaneously. I mean the simultaneously, right? And written translators. I have my work was both the spoken language and the written translation.
If I'm not mistaken, interpreter translates orally.
Orally.
Doğru.
All right.
Раз жаңалық естіп жатып, дүниеде жаңалық көп.
Я просто перепутала.
Нет, не перепутала, ты...
Maybe nowadays youngsters have 0 points about this interpreters and translators.
Right.
But it's right.
But you can also say me like as a translator and interpreter because I have just translated both of them, the written form and the spoken. So I'm a translator and interpreter at the same time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Our next student, Bashar Banazaro, your topic, the interplay of lexical and grammatical instruction in the initial stages of foreign language learning. And your scientific advisor, Dr. Yudash Narvayudash. Good afternoon, everyone. My theme is the interplay of lexical and grammatical instructions in the initial stage of foreign language learning. At the initial stage of learning a language, teaching vocabulary and grammar are closely related and should be integrated. Vocabulary provides the building blocks of language, enabling learners to name objects, actions, and ideas. Grammar offers the rules for combining these words into coherent and meaningful sentences. Introducing vocabulary in context with simple grammatical structures help learners understand how words function together, promoting more effective communication and deeper grasp of both vocabulary and grammatical rules. At the initial stage of education, typically involving young children aged 5 to 7, students exhibit specific age and psychophysiological characteristics. They have a high level of curiosity and a strong ability to absorb new information. Their attention spans are relatively short, and they learn best through play, repetition, and experiences. Psychologically, they are developing foundational social and emotional skills, and physiologically, they are referring motor skills and coordination. Social and emotional skills. Physiologically, they are referring motor skills and coordination. Teaching strategies should be adapted to these characteristics, emphasizing engagement in interaction and hands-on activities. The goals of teaching a foreign language in secondary schools include developing communicative competence, enhancing cultural understanding, and preparing students for real-life communication. Objectives involve improving listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. Grammar and vocabulary play crucial roles in these goals. Vocabulary provides the necessary words for communication, while grammar ensures that these words are used correctly and coherently. Mastery of both enables students to construct meaningful sentences, understand and produce complex text, and engage in conversation effectively. The principles for selecting the active lexical and grammatical minimum include relevance, frequency, utility, simplicity, progression, and interest. These principles help create a foundational set of language elements that enable learners to start communicating effectively and build confidence in their language skills. The formation of lexical and grammatical skills involves the development of vocabulary and the ability to use language structures correctly. Lexical skills pertain to the acquisition and understanding of words and their meanings, while grammatical skills involve mastering syntax, morphology, and the rules governing sentence structures. These skills are developed through exposure to language exposure to language, practice in speaking and writing, and formal education, which includes exercises in reading, comprehension, and grammar drills. Effective language acquisition combines both natural language use and structural learning activities.
Okay, my first question will be about your topic, the part of contents. There are given 2 chapters, and in chapter 1 you have 6 subtopics, but there is no subchapter in chapter 2. What is the reason of this kind of structure?
I gave all of the information in one piece.
In the topic? Without dividing into subchapters. Then what about the first one?
For the first topic, it was more information, and in the second topic, in the second chapter, we there was the theme about our practice. So I.
What are the principles of selecting the active lexical and grammatical minimum?
The principles for selecting the active lexical and grammatical minimum include relevance, frequency, utility, simplicity, and progression and interest. These principles help create a foundation set of language elements that enable learners to start communicating effectively and build confidence in their language skills.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next student, Aral Valmider, her topic symbolism and significance of numerical components in English idiomatic expressions. Your scientific advisor, Dr. Dr. Bazinov.
Good afternoon, dear teachers. Today's my topic is symbolism and the significance of numerical components in English idiomatic expressions. So it is symbolic sense difference from the definition or literal meaning of the words that make it. Idioms convey a figurative meaning that is difficult to understand solely by interpreting the words literally. For example, beyond the pale means something is over the line or improper. Everyone wants your speech to be rich, emotional, and expressive. One of the main ways to achieve this is reasonable as of different phraseological expressions. With the development of civilization and the intensive scenes into human lives, the role of the naturals is so research is becoming relevant. By numeric components, we mean the lexeme that contains and explicit or implicit indication of a number. This is components to not become because we are considering numeric components such as one, first, and many others. In addition, numeric components located on the periphery, such as half, both, once. Phraseological units. Phraseological meaning is a complex semantic while consisting of aspects denotative, significative, and connotative. Following Kuning. The denotative and the significative aspects of phraseological meaning are understood respectively as the subject correlation of phraseological units. In speech and the amount of information expressed by the phraseological unit in relation to the element of extra-linguistic it denotes. Symbolic means of the numerical components and their meaning in English phraseological units. Frequency of use of numerical components. English phraseological unit that have numerical components that make up car, cardinal and ordinal numbers. English phraseological units that have numerical components located on the periphery. The total number of English phraseological units we examine is 583 phraseological units. The last group includes components such as half, both, double, once, twice, single, pair, alone, quarter, and thrice.
Give some examples of English idiomatic expressions from your work. Some examples of idiomatic expressions from your work. Examples from your work.
For example, beyond the pal, over the line.
What does it mean? In Karakalpak or in Russian? Look like $1 million, for example, yeah? What does it mean? The meaning of this expression? Look like $1 million. Is it compliment or affixation?
Well, what can you say about the structural classification of physiological units?
Physiological unit. Phraseological unit can be classified into three groups: phraseological combinations, phraseological units, and the phraseological fusion.
Thank you.
Our next student, Mahinda Shafwa, he will talk minimizing the lexical semantic of speech addressing verbs. He was scientific advisor, docent, Utesh Razina.
Good afternoon, dear teachers. It's my topic analyzing the lexical semantic landscape of speech addressing verbs. Speech acts on addressing information theory. Information is a message, general tense, can be understood as a message. The interaction between the sender of a message and its recipient, the addressee, is ensured by language. This is precisely where one of its main language and the functions lies communication. The main aspects of the theory of speech acts essential for the study of the speech act of address. Linguistic science of debate is characterized by pronounced interest in the study and of the mechanisms of language functioning in speech. In particular, in the factors that determine the choice of options for and decide as a determinant in expression communicative intentions. In the conditions that determine the reading of the communicative purpose of the utterance, language does not excite on its own, but only combination with the clear organism of a specific utterance and specific speech performance. Pragmatics is an integral component of semantics, which is divided into semantics, syntactics, and pragmatics. The term pragmatics itself means the relationship of linguistic scene with its user. In other words, in pragmatics, and the research focus is aimed at identifying the relationship between a person and his speech behavior. And being an integral part of speech, the great addresses are used in a variety of communication situation used by people with a variety of social and analyzing with the set of characteristics as image of as a message and the stage of the sender of as a message and individual forms. Address will conclude the addresses with general conclude with the damage of introduction and the communication functions lies. And functions lies as a message that determine and the recycling and the final characteristics in directed to different addresses and the culture of native speakers and the sender of a message the reflexive of completing and comparative study of the systems of English and Russian addresses. And the communicative law not only
naming the addresses, but establishing and maintaining verbal contact with interactor while regulating landscape of information, the interaction between ensured by language. This is precisely where one of its main functions is communication. And mechanisms of language functions in speech, in particular in factors of communication that determine the choice of options for expressing communicative intentions. And,
Now, there will be some questions. Can you give some examples of verbs of speech in both Russian and English? Examples of verbs of speech in both Russian and English.
Russian and English, communicative pragmatic aspect and the semantic space of verbs of others in English and Russian languages. We can conclude that addresses paying a specific contact damage and establishing means, represent means of design and English and Russian language and remain one of the pressing problems of modern linguistics.
What are the forms of address in English and Russian?
A significance of communicative flow, according to the rules of speech, integrate correct address must be present in every language. It is necessary to build in accordance with the national rules of speech. And we say that one of the main conditions human society.
Our next student, Nandali Vabairangol, your topic design and communicative practice on teaching reading comprehension for intermediate level students. Your scientific advisor, docent, Mom Vaidina.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is my speech about designing communication tasks on teaching reading comprehension for intermediate level of students. First of all, I will talk about the task-based language teaching on intermediate level of students. Task-based reading is based on belief that students may learn more effectively when their minds are focused on the task rather than on the language they are using. So reason-wise, the activity must reflect real life and learners focus on meaning and they are free to use any language they want. Next, second is definition of the task. I wanted the second point is our defense is about how to use the task-based language teaching. In advanced language lesson based on the task-based language teaching methods has 3 stages: the pre-test, word test, and the post-test or review. During the pre-test activities, the teacher should introduce the task for the learners, trying to motivate them and make them to look up to it. And the task. What is the task definition? A specific piece of work required to be done as a duty or chore. Task component consists of goals, input, and procedures that should be supported by the teacher and learner. Role and setting. The purpose of the aim of the task. Goals can be seen from the task given by the teacher. And second, further building the car.
Building background is about students should have enormous or effective background because background knowledge is a reader's understanding of the specific concept, situation, and the problem associated with the words encountered in the text. Knowledge of the text, knowledge of the topic provides readers enough information, enough understanding to make meaning and build onto the currently know. And the components of the task-based strategy is a summary, content materials, activities, and goals. Fluency is important because it builds a bridge between the word recognition and the comprehension. It all allows students time to focus what the text is saying. They are able to make connection between what they are reading and what their background knowledge, and how to build background knowledge. Begin by teaching words in categories. Use analogies, encourage logic, embrace multimedia. And next topic, what are the prior knowledge? Prior knowledge in reading, prior knowledge refers what to a learner already knows before learning new information. What is it? Its information. Educational concepts already present before the new instruction. Prior knowledge is important as it plays a foundational block for the new information. And how to design communication tests. Rely on natural language function rather than grammar or rules, such as requesting information or expressing preferences. Emphasize meaning making and focus less on accuracy. Are rooted in the intended preference outcomes of the learners.
Thank you. Bayramlı,
Yeah.
Bayramlı, the topic is about designing communicative tasks of teaching reading comprehension for intermediate level students. Yeah? What kind of communicative tasks have you designed in your work?
My lesson plans, I planned pre reading activities, whilst reading activities, and post reading activities. All of this should be combined in one lesson plan, and it should be takes about 5 or 10 minutes to do it with your students with the guidance of teacher.
Okay. What ways of designing? What are the ways of designing communicative tasks? Ways of designing tasks. The principles, the ways.
Typical activities this approach are games, problem-solving tasks, and the role play. There should be information gap and feedback involved in the activity. And to designing communicative tasks.
Thank you.
Our next student is Faith Mohanan, student topic, fostering communicative competence through extracurricular activities in foreign language learning. Your scientific advisor, Doctor of Philosophy, Taskan Rajrawi.
I am Rusbayeva Nurhanam, and my topic about fostering communicative competence through extracurricular activities in foreign language learning. Fostering communicative competence through extracurricular activities enhance learners' overall language proficiency and equips them with successful communication skills in diverse settings. Integrating grammar into meaningful communication contexts promote effective communication, language fluency, accuracy, critical thinking, cultural competence, motivation, and real-world application. Extracurricular activities help create an environment for foreign language speech communication that is as close as possible to natural conditions essential for mastering a foreign language. Types of extracurricular extracurricular activities. The first is language clubs. These clubs focus on improving practical language proficiency. They offer a structured environment where students can enhance their speaking, reading, and writing skills through planned activities and consistent participation. Examples include English poetry clubs and speaking clubs. Regional and local history clubs. These clubs aim to enrich students' understanding of the culture, history, and geography of regions where the target language is spoken. Activities might include discussions, projects, and presentations on historical events and regional traditions, fostering a deeper connection with the language. And the last one is entertaining clubs. These clubs provide a fun and engaging way to learn a foreign language. Activities often include games, drama, song learning, and other entertaining methods to make language learning enjoyable. The goal is to relieve stress after school while still practicing language skills. No. General requirements for clubs. Relevance of the topic. The chosen topics must be significant and relate to students' educational journey. Connection with educational topics. Clubs' activities should align with and complement the school's curriculum. Age and interest appropriateness. The topics must resonate with the students' age, interests, and inclinations. Cognitive value. Educational material should be regionally focused and intellectually stimulating. Extracurricular event, holiday, and tradition Halloween. In detail, you can look at my thesis. Event starts with a greeting and quiz on Halloween knowledge. Participants 6 students from grade 7 to 11. Activities includes creating pumpkin faces, poetry, competition, and the labyrinth game. Creative task, teams design symbols and write scary stories. Final reports on Halloween, traditions, and the memory game. In conclusion, extracurricular activities plays an essential role in fostering communicative competence in foreign language learning. They create a natural environment for language practice, enhancing students' motivation and engagement. Effective extracurricular work, as emphasized, should be closely tied to lesson content and organized meticulously to stimulate cognitive and linguistic skills. The humanistic approach, emphasizing empathy and personal interaction, further enrich the learning experience. That's all my presentation.
What are the significance of curricular activities in teaching English or teaching language?
Benefits?
Significance.
Uh,
Why it's important to organize extracurricular activities for the students?
mm, by To express in the to express independence and creativity in their activities.
Thank you.
And our last student, Satabaya Diana, your topic, the importance of PowerPoint presentation in teaching English, and your scientific advisor, docent, Abish Musai.
Good afternoon, dear teacher. Today's my topic. The importance of PowerPoint teaching in English. The structure of the work consists of introduction, two chapters, conclusion, and reference. The theme of our qualification work counts as following the importance of PowerPoint presentation in teaching English. In the context of society entering a new stage of development information, it becomes necessary and important to modernize the modern educational environment, which in turn is expressed in the processes of computerization of educational institutions, equipping not only with technical, but also with the latest software. Such innovations require information and technical skills from the teacher, which are reflected in the skillful handling of the necessary technical means, the ability to use software resources, the ability to use already developed training programs, applications, and the ability to independently create the necessary electronic multimedia didactic materials. Features of the PowerPoint application. PowerPoint is the leader among presentation creation system. With its help, text and numerical information can be easily converted into professionally made slides and diagrams suitable for demonstration to a modern, very demanding audience. Presentation summary. This type of presentation includes the following structure: the presence of the main visual components of a traditional lecture, title, plan, key concepts, training material, question for self-assessment. Illustrative series plays an auxiliary and a significant role. Quite often, such classes in the substantive, sometimes in the illustrative part, are focused on the basic textbook. Slideshow presentation is characterized by the following points. Emphasize on bright, large images on colors. Can be demonstrated at the beginning, at the end, or in the middle of the lesson with the goal of creating a certain emotional mood, possibly accompanied by musical fragments. Demonstrating a slideshow throughout the entire lesson seems ineffective. In conclusion, I say, PowerPoint was created specifically to provide users with improved means of sharing information on the internet and collaborating in real time, as well as to facilitate the work with the application and its use in an international environment. As an integral part of the Microsoft Office suite, this application also has a number of other features that are common to Office components and open the way to completely new and bottomless horizons of functionality. With Microsoft PowerPoint, you can not only create a presentation, this application has all the necessary tools and instruments for improving presentation, slides, and the comments for changing the arrangement of slides. You can create attractive presentations quickly and easily. The library of graphic elements also contains clips and sounds. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Diana, you have mentioned numerous advantages of PowerPoint, yeah, but can you just list some disadvantages of PowerPoint? As everything has two sides, yeah?
You will give answer from your point of view. From your point of view, you give your answer. Disadvantages. All the advantages.
So just advantages,
Yes. Well, what is the purposes of the presentations? PowerPoint presentation.
Presentations
Purposes of.
presentations are typically demonstrations, introduction lecture or speech meant to inform, persuade, inspire, motivate, build goodwill, or present a new idea and product. Thank you.